There are so many teaching methods that can be used, and some of that is Dale's cone of experience and TPACK or technological pedagogical content knowledge. Now, in this video, let's talk about TPACK. As we all know, it is unavoidable to use technology when teaching because nowadays it is necessary to use technology to make teaching more effective. TPACK model gives us a new framework for the integration of technology and education and how we can structure our classroom to provide the best educational experience for students while incorporating technology. What is TPACK framework? So, it is a theory that was developed to explain the set of knowledge that teachers need to teach their students. A subject teaches effectively and use technology. TPACK gives us 3 knowledge areas to consider, and these are technology, pedagogy, and content. And the circles in TPACK diagram represent pedagogical knowledge, technological knowledge, and also content knowledge. So, let's talk first about technological knowledge. It is about how to use ICT hardwares and softwares and associated peripherals. For example, knowledge about how to use electronic tools like laptops, LCDs, Wiki, blogs, Edmodo, Google Class. And that's it. What is about content knowledge? It is the knowledge of the subject matter. For example, knowledge about the subject science, mathematics, history, and other language subject. And lastly, pedagogical knowledge. It is about the knowledge about students' learning, instructional method, differentiated educational theories, and learning assessment to teach a subject matter. For example, knowledge about how to use teaching strategy like problem-based learning and teaching, inquiry-based instruction, and differentiated instruction. There are 3 knowledge that will be formed when the 3 knowledge intersect, and that are TC key, PC key, and TP key. But first, let's talk about TC key or technological content knowledge. So it is the ability of the teacher to select appropriate technology in a particular topic so that the students better understand the content of the topic. With the help of technology, the content of a lesson becomes more concrete. This will help the teacher to have a good teaching and to keep the students interested. And also PC key or pedagogical content knowledge. It is the ability to choose an appropriate strategy to teach the subject effectively. The teachers here consider the most appropriate task that will develop the skill of the students demanded by the subject matter. And lastly, TP key, which is technological pedagogical knowledge. It is the ability to select the appropriate teaching strategy that technology uses its implementation. And for example, for that is students will perform an activity, and with the help of equipment, the result, output, or performance of the students will be outstanding. At the center of the 3 knowledge will be called technological pedagogical content knowledge, which is the TPACK. Here, it can be seen that it is necessary to choose the most appropriate strategy for teaching a subject matter. The strategy is appropriate to the topic of the lesson and abilities and interests of the students. Students are even more excited when the teacher also considers the use of technologies in carrying out students' tasks. When TPACK framework is followed, teaching will definitely be effective and interesting.
So next is Edgar Dale's Cone of Experience. So Edgar Dale's Cone of Experience helps L&D professionals to plan learning experiences that take advantage of the most effective learning environments. This 11-stage model places multimedia elements into categories based on their concreteness. Known in some circles as the learning pyramid, Dale's cone of experience is one of the most commonly misrepresented learning theories. So, Edgar Dale was born in 1900s and he grew up on a family farm in North Dakota, United States. He earned both his bachelor's and master's degrees from the University of North Dakota and made his way as a teacher in a small rural school. Dale completed his PhD at the University of Chicago and joined the Eastman Kodak Company, nowadays simply known as Kodak. The company remains a dominant player in the photography industry. In his first edition of Audiovisual Methods in Teaching in 1946, Dale introduced the cone of experience. So the cone placed different educational media and methods in a continuum from the most concrete experience at the bottom to the most abstract at the top. As such, the cone of experience explains the interrelationships of the various types of media and their individual positions in the learning process. This makes it a valuable tool that helps instructional designers and professionals incorporate the audiovisual materials into their classroom or online training interventions. The arrangement of the levels in the cone is not based on its difficulty. Instead, it focuses on abstraction and the number of senses involved. Instructional designers can mix and interrelate these experiences to foster more meaningful learning. So let's have a look at each level individually, working our way down the cone. So Dale cone of experience is composed of 11 experiences. These are direct, purposeful experiences, contrived experiences, dramatized experiences, demonstrations, field trips, exhibits, motion pictures, radio and television, reading, verbal symbols. So from the bottom, verbal symbols explored. Each level of the cone moves the learner a step further away from real life experiences. As such, experiences focusing only on the use of verbal symbols are the farthest removed from real life. Verbal symbols are highly abstract as they bear no physical resemblance to the object or ideas they stand for. In fact, these verbal symbols provide visual representation or clues to their meaning. Second is the visual symbols. The other highly abstract level includes visual symbols such as charts, maps, graphs, and diagrams that are used for conceptual representation. These visual symbols helps to make just about any reality into something easier to understand. In fact, from sports team logos to traffic signs, we see symbols everywhere. These symbols help people understand the world just as with verbal symbols. Visual symbols help drive to understanding by conveying a meaning that is shared by the rest of the society. Next is recordings, radio, and still pictures. Edgar Dale first created this model in 1946. As such, he included the multimedia assets of his time such as recordings, radio, and still pictures. So in modern terms, this level include photos, podcasts, or audio files. If you go back to the corrupted cone, one of the common misrepresentations treats seeing as more effective than hearing. Yet, Dale placed visual and auditory media on a similar level of abstraction. After all, in both cases, you are merely observing visual symbols, like still photos, or verbal symbols, like audio recordings. Neither example actively asks anything of the learner. Next is the motion pictures, and next is the educational television. So most recent publications combine levels 8 and 7 into one category. After all, motion pictures and television are similar mediums. They enable learners to process real-life processes or events through on-screen recordings. Motion pictures and educational television include, for example, videos, animations, and TV programs which imply value and messages through moving pictures. These are abstract experiences as learner focuses on observation instead of active participation. As a result, learners have little or no opportunity to participate in or use senses other than seeing and hearing. But while extreme experiences can't recreate the richness of reality. Videos do represent an on-screen abstraction of real-life processes and events. Next is exhibits. The sixth level of Dale's cognitive experience moves us away from the most abstract experience. This is the first level that opens the door for an expanded range of sensory and participatory experiences. In fact, this level can be summarized as meaningful displays with limited handling, and after all, most exhibits are experiences that for the eyes only. Yet, some exhibits include sensory elements that can be related to direct, purposeful experiences. These exhibits are specifically designed for interactivity. As a result, these experiences allow learners to see the meaning and relevance of the things based on the different pictures and representations presented. Visiting exhibits in educational outlets like museums are a common way to provide learning opportunities. Next is the trips. Study trips offer the sights and sounds of real-world settings. The main activity focuses on observing from the sidelines, aside from the occasional opportunities to participate. So participation could include, for instance, hopping in a fire truck or milking a cow. These rich experiences help learners to learn more about different objects, systems, and situations. As such, study trips provide an opportunity to experience something that learners cannot be encountered within the traditional classroom space. Next, demonstrations. A demonstration is a visualized explanation of facts, ideas, or processes. They are a common way to train employees or students, as they require relatively little preparation and resources. After all, individuals observe a lot simply by watching others. On top of that, demonstrations can include pictures, drawings, film, and other types of media in order to facilitate and clear effective learning. This approach helps to showcase how individuals can complete these tasks in real life. Like exhibits and field trips, demonstrations may or not include an element of participation. As such, demonstrations sit in the middle of the cone based on their abstraction. Dramatized experiences. Dramatized experiences can be seen as a role-play exercises. This means reconstructing situations for learning purposes. As a result, the third level involves shifting learners, at least some of them, from observers to active participants. This enables learners to participate in reconstructed experiences that could give them a better understanding of the idea or concept. In this manner, dramatizing real-life experiences can help learners to get closer to certain realities that are not easily available firsthand. Second to the last is the contrived experiences. The second level is called contrived experiences, which focuses on the editing of reality. At this level, teachers use representative models and mock-ups to provide an experience that is as close to reality as possible. This can make the concept easier to grasp. After all, some realities are far too complex to take in all at once. As such, contrived experiences are limitations that sometimes teach better than realities they imitate. Contrived experiences are very practical and make the learning experience more accessible. They have a concrete nature that permits easily visualization and helps to foster a better understanding of the concept at hand. And on top of that, contrived experiences are easier to manipulate or operate. The last but not the least is the bottom level of Dale's cognitive experience is also the least abstract, the direct, purposeful experience. Are hands-on activities that grant us responsibility for driving a specific outcome. We are active agents in the learning experience. In a sense, direct, purposeful experiences are an unbridged version of life itself. These rich, full-bodied experiences can be considered the bedrock of all education. Learners can see, handle, taste, feel, touch, and smell these experiences. As such, at this level, learners use more senses in order to build up their knowledge. So that's the 11 experiences of Dale Cones of Experience. So it is important to note that the Dale cognitive experience is a conceptual model and not a rigid rule for how learning always occurs. Different individuals may have varying preferences and learning styles, and the effectiveness of a learning method can depend on the context and the learner's needs.